Gillette, and it is September 19th, 2023 at about 9:01. And I'm calling to order this meeting of the Home Inspection Licensing Board. So did everyone have a chance to review the minutes from June 20th?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any comments or questions about those minutes? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I have a motion to approve.
I make
the
a
minutes.
motion.
Yeah,
Okay,
I second it.
okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Okay, so that passes. So do we have any comments or concerns from anyone present today?
Is that new business you're talking? No.
No, that's just the next line item on the agenda.
Good,
I
no.
don't think, apparently no. All right, so the Department Investigation Division, they can report on the status, the complaint status. Do we have
Good
someone
morning.
up? Okay,
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, board members. This is Janita Hamill, Supervising Special Investigator for Investigations. You should have received 2 reports
right,
for the Home Inspection Board. The first for the 2-month reporting period of May 1st, 2023 through June 30th of 2023. We had 1 case that was closed. No further action was warranted. The file was referred by the real estate unit to investigations, and the investigator found that this file is actually a broker agent complaint. There is no home inspection complaint. The complainant verified it, so the email was uploaded and the investigator closed it as a non-issue.
okay,
It was actually, the problem was with the real estate side. Okay,
Okay.
okay.
then,
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, we have,
No.
okay, and then for the next 2-month time frame reporting, it is from July 1st of 2023 through August 31st of 2023. And in that time, we did not receive any new complaints, but the investigator did close 2 files. The first one is a civil matter. The respondent was properly supervised by a licensed home inspector. It's a dispute of facts in a civil matter. And again, in the second complaint, it was a civil matter. The person complained about was a home inspection intern again, and was properly supervised by a licensed home inspector during that matter. And he again closed it as a civil matter and a dispute of facts.
okay. Any questions on that report?
No questions.
No
Okay,
Nope.
okay. So,
Thanks.
thank you. So now the Department Legal Division, do we have a representative to talk on the smoke detector legislation? Okay,
I am Leslie O'Brien. I'm the legislative director. I'm not technical, so I'm here. For any questions you have.
oh, yeah, sure, I have questions. Where do we stand? I mean, it's been years since we've been trying to move this along. I think this act was passed in 2021.
I'm
working-
sorry, move what along specifically?
The amendment that we made to our regulations per a law that was passed back in July.
So I think I have an update for that. Cynthia, she's out sick today. She sent an email.
Okay.
But she did have an update regarding your proposed regulations. She said the regulations have been reviewed for legal sufficiency by the Attorney General's office and were submitted to the Legislative Regulation Review Committee on August 3rd of 2023. The LRRC meeting date is October 24th of 2023 with a decision date set for November 9th of this year. She said she'll keep the board updated as the regulations progress through the system.
Michelle, I'll just add to that. So the regulations process is extremely slow. So I didn't know that's what you were asking about, is when the regulations would be done. But so while the October date is a tentative date, it's not guaranteed that they'll actually go in October, but we can let you know. It's a tentative date. It's not, it could be that the Legislative Commissioner's Office reviews and has changes that they want to make. It may be that it's perfectly fine and it sails through. There's no guarantee.
Okay. We had gotten advice from a lawyer at a seminar that law was, when it was passed, it would be, we were responsible for the changes. And then we understood that that wasn't the case until these amendments were approved. And, I have a list of that procedure. I don't have it right in front of me, but, and yeah, to say it's a slow process, I mean, that's, it's an understatement, but I guess, so we're still in that process. That's what we're saying.
Yes.
Okay. Because there is new legislation on a law that was passed that's going to be enacted in October. It really makes what we're doing moot, but it doesn't have anything to do with us, but it has to do with the real estate agents and the sellers.
Yeah, you're referring to the Public Act. You're right. It takes effect, that amends 29-453, which amends the requirements so that before you could, the seller could just pay $250.
Right.
Now there's an affidavit instead that needs to be signed where they verify that there are smoke detectors essentially and carbon monoxide detectors, but it definitely, you're right, it doesn't impact you. It does amend.
Yeah. Well, this is really where it should have been right from the get-go. I mean, the sellers having some responsibility in preparing their house to sell. Home inspectors, I mean, we made our changes and, we're fine with those changes, but not everybody has a home inspection. And so back in the day,
Right.
like 20% were not having home inspections. So you're missing 20% of the public that we want to get this information to. So, but now it's not 20%. It's maybe more like 50% or more waive inspections because of the current market conditions.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
would there be a chance where these amendments that were related to warning equipment, be pulled back, and not be implemented?
You need a statutory change to do that. So
Okay.
you would have to advocate for that
Okay.
during the next legislative session.
Okay. So that
Larry-
appeal process is involved.
On our end as an agency, we really don't get in the middle of the sort of policy debate. Our role is not to get in the middle of the policy debate. It is to, implement whatever is passed by policymakers. You as subject matter experts on this issue should advocate for what it is you think would be best at the legislature. But we're sort of in the middle on this, and
Okay. Okay. So, but there's no way to speed up this process of our amendments because, smoke detection or warning equipment was, a big part of it, but we made several other changes that were important and they had to do with
it. Like I said, if everything goes well and LCO doesn't have any problems, and then it will happen in October, which isn't too far from now, even though it's been a very long process, and I agree with that. If there's a problem, then it will slow things down by about a month.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully there won't be any problems.
Okay,
There's just no
Okay, so-
absolute guarantee, that's all.
so our response, should we be questioned by inspectors at large, is that we're still in process.
Yeah,
That's it.
but not for
Yeah.
much longer, hopefully not for much longer.
Okay. Okay. So I think that probably covers that part of it. Are there any questions from anyone on that?
No.
Larry, on a similar note of legislation, I recently had seen, somebody had sent me the legislation that was going forward in Mass
Yeah,
about
we have
giving,
that. Yeah, we have that listed, Bruce, under new business.
okay,
So I think we're going to cover that soon. At least
Okay.
initiate a discussion on that.
sounds good.
Okay, so is that it?
Larry,
for,
I have a question.
For that? Oh, okay.
Larry,
go
I
ahead.
have a question. If,
Sure.
if everything gets approved at some point, are we going to be notified outside of a meeting, or will we only be notified if we have a scheduled meeting that we're going to be in, and then we'll be told then? Because, you know, timeliness, I think, would be, you know, critical. If it does get approved, we want to know about it as soon as possible.
Cynthia, I think Cynthia indicated in the email that Rochelle read to you a few minutes ago that she would keep you posted. So she and I will communicate and make sure that you are all notified once it passes.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. So I think we can, no other questions. I think we can move on to our old business. We have a hardship waiver request by a Mr. Lopez. I mean, that came up at our last meeting, and Mr. Cohen was going to look into that, I guess. Do we have any information on
I
that?
reached out to him. I reached out to him. He has no license with us that I can find, and he never responded.
There's no license.
Okay. So how did he even come up in the past?
Well, I mean, he went online and submitted a form, but
Okay, so he was asking for, did he have a license at one time? He must have, huh?
no, not
Never
according to
had
our
a license.
records.
Okay,
Not according to what I could find.
okay. So there's no hardship waiver request from Mr. Lopez.
Nope.
Was he looking to obtain a license? Is that the information he reached
No.
out for?
It-
No?
It didn't look like it.
Okay, okay. So that's a non-issue for us, right? I mean,
That's how it seems.
there's nothing we can do about it. Okay,
Larry.
let's move on then. Good luck for Mr. Lopez. So new business, we have this hardship waiver from Jeremy Labayek or whatever. And did everyone get that request and was able
Yes.
to read through it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, no?
Yes.
And I received it. He was asking for a 1 month extension. This is the first we're hearing of it now. He asked for the extension back at the end of June. And I looked and he's active. So he must have completed his requirements. I don't know if he got him in on time or not, but he's an active inspector as of August, I think it was the 9th of this year. So I don't know that there's anything more to discuss on Mr. Babiak or whatever. Does anyone
Sounds
have
good.
any other information on that? I mean, it looks like he's good to go. He got an extension without us giving him one, I guess. So, no questions on that. So Bruce, the next item in the new business is that legislation, and I just wanted to, have a discussion about it. It has to do with some pending legislation in Massachusetts, whereby they're experiencing the same thing in the marketplace of home buyers being put in a position where they basically to stay in the game, they have to waive their inspection services and maybe some other things. Multiple offers, for example, 4 offers come in to a seller. One of those offers is in writing, waiving their inspections in their purchase agreement. And in order to stay in the game, the other 3 offers basically waive their inspections also. Assuming that the offers are basically price-wise, close to each other. So Massachusetts is seeking to pass legislation that forbids in writing that a home buyer waive the inspections. So it can't be something in writing in the purchase agreement. If they want to waive the inspections, they can still waive them. They have a right to do them. That's the language. And their legislation is saying that they're not going to allow them to waive that in writing. So it keeps the playing field level for everyone. They can still not do the inspections if they don't want. If their bid gets accepted, they can go ahead and say, well, we're not going to do any inspections, or let the time frame go by and not do the inspections. So in effect, waive them. But that's what Massachusetts is looking at, just to remove that in writing. We are waiving all inspections. So, it's been a problem. I think we're going to work our way out of it. Perhaps this legislation helps to stop that problem from happening again. It's certainly a consumer protection issue. I've heard several stories where people have bought a house, not had anything inspected, and run into some significant problems, septics and all. So, I don't know if, I think, Tim, you reached out to a representative. I think he misunderstood what they were trying to
I
do.
reached out to a senator and sent him
Yeah.
the proposal from Massachusetts. And he just thinks it's more regulation and he wants smaller government, and he's not for it. But I agree with you, Larry. That he doesn't really understand the purpose of it or how it was going to be implemented or stated.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send him. I'm going to send him what was. I think you had sent something out just the other day, or I just read something else online regarding it.
Okay.
I know where it was.
bill?
It was in the Kahi Reporter, the newsletter from Kahi.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you read it or not. It was very good, and I was going to forward that to him actually today, to have him read it so he get a better understanding exactly the purpose of it and how it would be implemented.
Yeah.
Do we
Tim,
go
I
to
have
a
the
different,
original-
One at a time. Bruce?
yeah, maybe we ought to go, how do we get legislation, processed? In, if we feel strongly about this, do we go to somebody else?
Yeah, well, I think, I imagine we reach out to our respective people, and if some legislature or a legislator or a group, feels they want to, write some legislation. I guess that's how it starts. I don't know. I don't know if the Department of Consumer Protection offers some support in this in some way. I'm not sure how that works. But I think if enough people, speak to their legislatures, then maybe something, gets initiated.
Now, question for, does Kahi or SNEC or the any of the other organizations in Connecticut have lobbyists? I remember SNEC used to have a lobbyist. We don't have, as far as you know,
Ashley
none of the
does.
other sources. Ashley
Yeah,
does
Ashley
have.
does. But I don't know if we would have to reach out to him and see if that's something, he would be willing to do. I don't know why he wouldn't, but
Yeah, because I would think that would be
Is there-
something that he would, because he would have contacts and he would know how to go about presenting this to, our representatives and senators and so on.
Right.
Maybe we ought to produce a letter that we send to every home inspector in the state of Connecticut stating that this is what we would like to see, passed. If you feel strongly about it, please send it to your legislator so we get everybody doing it.
You're saying,
I mean, this is good for the whole industry. And if every home inspector send it to their own legislator, maybe somebody, will push it.
Bruce, are you suggesting that come from the board here?
Yeah, I am. I'm suggesting that maybe we should produce a statement saying that the board feels that the consumer is better protected by not having language disqualifying, saying they're waiving their home inspection,
Mhm.
and that it shouldn't, it should not be permitted to be part of a transaction. If somebody chooses to do it, that's fine, but we're looking to protect, all consumers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And can we go ahead and write a position paper like that and have it sent out as from the board to licensed home inspectors? I guess Jason, I guess that's a question for you, or can we produce a position paper as a board? I'm not sure.
A position paper? Actually, I've got Ryan here with me. He might be able to better answer this. So if you could repeat that question.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, Ryan. Did you just join us, or? were
Yeah,
you listening in?
I'm preparing for another presentation, but I'm happy to answer any question you may have. How can I help you?
Well, we were just discussing the condition of home buyers waiving their inspection services in writing in their purchase agreement when there are multiple offers. And it's forcing everyone who's in the multiple offer to stay in the game. They have to waive their inspection as well. In the state of Massachusetts, they've implemented some legislation whereby they're trying to prevent that in writing from being in the purchase agreement. The contingency is still the same. They can have their inspections done. They have the right to do the inspection, but they can't write that they're going to waive them. They can waive them if they want.
And you're asking
we would like to
DCP Legal to weigh in on this?
We can get our legislators to get on board with something like this and write legislation.
Yeah.
Okay, Leslie O'Brien is
Yeah, I'm
trying
going to
tune in.
defer to Leslie. This doesn't sound like a question for legal. This sounds like a legislative issue. So I think
Right.
Leslie's the appropriate person to discuss this with.
Okay.
So-
Fine. Good.
So
Thank you.
you as board members and as a board are absolutely, you can advocate for legislative changes. The General Law Committee is the Committee of Cognizance, or the Real Estate, the Insurance and Real Estate Committee. Either one, really. I mean, technically, General Law is the Committee of Cognizance for DCP. However, real estate, there's this gray area. So you could start this in either committee. Should go to the other one as well. But you can advocate. You certainly are. There's nothing that legally prohibits you from advocating for statutory changes.
Okay. So again, the question was, if we were to produce a paper with our position on this and send it to other home inspectors and encouraging them to send that to their local legislators just by means of making contact and getting something behind this. That was the question. Can we send some kind of paper to other home inspectors?
I
It
don't
would
know of a
basically be
reason why
from the
you.
board.
I don't know of a reason why you can't. Ryan, is there a legal reason why they can't communicate with all licensees?
My only hesitation is would be actually I'd have two concerns. One would be If you're acting in that advocacy capacity, one, I'm not sure if you can leverage the state licensee email lists and contact information. I don't know if that would be within the bounds of that, so I'd have to look into whether that would be accessible.
You might need to FOIA it.
Right. Which,
I'm sorry, say
something
that again,
certainly that
please.
can be discussed.
You might need
Could
to.
you, re-
You might need to submit a Freedom of Information request to get the contact information to do this.
And just making sure it's very clear that support or failure to support any of your advocacy would have no impact on your oversight functions. So that should probably be fairly explicit in any communications that you would have.
So Jason, what if the board sent it to the associations in Connecticut and then the associations then in turn sent it out to their members?
They could do that. That's
But
perfectly.
that's leaving a gap, Bruce. There's a gap there because we know that 100% of licensees are not on one, particular organization or another. There's a gap there that we're probably missing.
The association, however, could FOIA the entire list, and then so as an association could contact non-members as well. You could do that.
okay. Okay. I mean,
In all
basically,
honesty,
we need
Well, the thing is, Mark,
legislators.
too, you gotta realize, Mark, that if they're not a member of an association, more than likely, they're not gonna care one way or the other. They're not gonna participate in this procedure.
All right.
Okay.
But this is basically an attempt to get the interest of the various legislators around the state. I mean, that's what we're trying to do, right? I mean, nobody may agree with this, so it would go nowhere. But working through CAHI and ASHI, we can get information to licensed home inspectors, and then they can reach out accordingly to their legislators, and then that's at least a first step. Does that sound about right?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
she's shaking her head, yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Is there any other discussion on this? Okay. Is there any correspondence that we need to cover? Any comments or concerns of anyone present today?
New business?
That
So do
was
we
new
make a
business.
motion to do that, Larry?
I don't know that we need a motion. We can, if you'd like, I guess we can make a motion to reach out to the associations.
Right. I make
All
a
right.
motion that we send out to reach out to the associations and to anybody, I guess, what I thought we were able to also solicit people who aren't part of organizations.
I don't know about as a board, I'm not sure about that. Leslie?
So going back, if the association is reaching out to its members, it's also able, the association could also reach out to non-members. If you as a board are doing this, as Ryan mentioned, if you're doing it as a board, then you just, at the very least, and I think Ryan, if you're still there somewhere, going to double check this, but you would need to make it very clear that your advocacy on this issue does not impact how you act as a licensing board. So it wouldn't, that was what Ryan was talking about. And so, that would be the other, thing. You just need to be sensitive to that, since you do have,
Right.
you are
Right.
all as board members in positions of authority when it comes to people's licenses.
Right. Okay. Okay. But as home inspectors, I don't see why the associations can't encourage home inspectors to reach out not only to legislators, but to anyone else. real estate
And the
agents.
associate, right, and the association certainly can, there's nothing that prohibits the association from reaching out to home inspectors who aren't members of their association. They're certainly able, they can do that.
Right, right,
Can I ask a question?
sure.
I'm as a member of this board, I'm also a member and the president of the ASHI group in Connecticut. Would there be any conflict there if we sent something out from our organization to licensed inspectors that had my name on it or signature on it? Is that a conflict of interest?
You're signing it as president of ASHI.
Yeah, but
Not-
I'm also
not
a board member
member.
here. Right, but I mean, no one's going to see that as a, because there are people that understand that I'm the president of that group, but also a member on this board.
Right.
Could not be seen as an issue. I just don't want to. I want to make sure I'm just not overstepping and, creating a problem
Right.
down the road.
I see no issue with that. Leslie, feel free to weigh in if you have any concerns, but I see no issue with that. That is, you're acting in your private capacity and you are free to advocate in whatever way you see fit. It's when things are going out under your official, I am an agent of the state of Connecticut, that some of these additional concerns get raised and where we just have to be a bit more careful.
I agree with Brian.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. So if we as board members are outside and reaching out to our legislators, we are licensed home inspectors. We're not signing off as members of this board when we're reaching out to our legislators or talking with, if we were to send some communication to some real estate agents, we're sending it out and signing it as a home inspector, but not as a board member. Is that correct?
That's fine. I don't think it's inappropriate for you to reach out directly to legislators to advocate for things you believe, given your experience and expertise as board members. The concern from my perspective gets raised when you're reaching out to licensees, because there are
Okay.
licensees that may disagree with you and you have authority over their license. So that's where the sensitivity comes in.
Okay.
Communications to non-licensees are less concerning.
Okay. All right. So I think we've made some progress here. Bruce, you were making a motion that we reach out to the associations. Did you want to continue with that in any way, or?
Yeah, I make a motion that we reach out to the associations, give them the legislation that was just approved in Mass, and say
No,
that if anybody
okay.
feels.
I don't think it's been approved in
I don't.
Mass.
It's
mean,
not
this is
approved
just-
yet, but it's
Right.
they have bills.
Right. All right.
Okay, so let's say this is legislation that's being processed or in Mass. And if any of you feel strongly about this type of legislation being passed in Connecticut, please pass it on to, please pass it on. And then each of the
Okay.
boards can certainly go on to the website, find out who all the home inspectors are, and they can send it to every single home inspector. So the motion is to send, the motion is to send a letter stating that this is possible legislation in Mass. And we want to make you aware of it. If any, if you feel, if any of, you feel strongly, please pass it on to your legislators.
All right. I think, but there's some issue with us compiling this communication to the associations. I mean, we can I can put together a draft, but if I send it to you guys, then are we,
Well, basically,
operating an
basically,
illegal meeting or something?
we don't need to send anything out. We have enough people here who are on the board now. We know what to do. I think the local associations should just, if we're members of local associations, we should bring it up to them, and we don't even need to send anything out as a board.
Okay. So Bruce, just briefly state that motion again.
So my motion is, I'm going to withdraw my motion, and I feel as though that we have enough exposure by the people that are on the board that, if we think this is strong, if any of us think, if any of us feel that this would be beneficial to the consumers, then we should talk to our local associations and bring it up at their meeting.
All right. All right. Does anyone have anything else on that?
Sounds good.
No.
All right. All right. I think we can do that. I had one other piece of, well, it's not on the agenda, but for new business, we are lacking in members to our board. And I just want to know what would be the procedure for someone who may want to apply to join the board. What would their procedure be? I'm not sure who the right person for that, Jason or, but we have, I think there's 4 openings on our board. Does anyone from the department have a?
I mean, if you have particular names you'd like to recommend, we can help you submit it to the governor's office.
Okay. And so
we
what
send that to
information
you,
would you
Jason?
need? What information would you need from them? Just give us, give to us that we would give to you, their name and address, or what else?
Yeah, probably name, address, email address, and any qualifications. And Leslie, please correct me if I'm wrong or missing any of.
So as Jason noted, the governor's, these are gubernatorial appointments,
Right.
not DCP. If
Right.
you have recommendations for the governor's office, the person who deals with appointments over there is Tom Scanlon, and he should be contacted. Really, it should not come through. It's easier if you go directly to him. I know that there's an application that anyone who is interested needs to fill out, and they ask for, a resume. So Tom will provide you with the necessary information, and then people who are interested should contact him directly. Tom Scanlon's
Right.
email address.
Yeah,
I'll
I
give you
mean,
that.
Larry, first of all, what is the composition? We have 4 home inspectors. What else would be on the board?
1 more home inspector, I believe, and 3 public members.
Both members.
So,
Yeah, members of. the
so
public, right?
they're supposed to contact them directly. I mean, that's the way that I got on the board. I wrote the governor a letter. So if you know people who want to be on the board, like a home inspector or a public member, they should contact Tom.
Yeah, so Tom's email address is tom.scanlon, SCANLON @ct.gov.
Okay. So the
But
department,
this
though,
isn't,
does
Larry,
not-
this is.
Go ahead.
This is not recommendations from us, Larry. It's people that apply for the job.
That's right, but how does the public know that there are openings? Does the Department of Consumer Protection have some type of procedure? Do they put out something to say there are
We don't-
members openings,
No.
vacancies? No.
I mean, our website shows who's on the, we have multiple boards and commissions that we are the administrator for.
Right.
And this is really managed by the governor's office.
Okay.
In terms of board members, vacancies we just don't have the staffing resources for that here.
Right.
So.
Right.
So they manage that. So, but if you know of people who are interested, they should contact Tom.
So it's not a problem for us to go out personally and find people who we think would be qualified or would benefit our board. If
That
they're
is fine.
on-
I know that
Yeah,
Tom and
okay.
others in the governor's office are also working on this, but you can only imagine, you know, how many
No,
boards and
I
commissions
understand.
they have to deal with, because
And
it's
then
like
just
us
just
plus
provide,
tons other, yeah, so.
right, and then just provide that individual Tom's contact information, and they could then
Yeah.
contact him if they have interest.
I'm,
Okay.
I'm sure the governor's office would appreciate any help you can provide with filling vacancies, because
Okay.
they deal with this times like 100.
Right,
Right.
or more. Okay. All right, that's fine. Any other comments or concerns from anyone today?
Mhm.
Okay.
No.
Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I
I'll make
I
a
make a
motion
motion
to
to
adjourn the
adjourn.
meeting.
Okay, so we had a motion by Tim and seconded by Bruce. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I think we're finished. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, see ya.
Thanks, Larry.